I think he's going to be raising money to try to elect people who he believes share his agenda and his priorities. I think that's consistent with actions taken by past presidents.
Pay a little bit more. Pay a little bit more.
That he is now using gun control the way Democrats always use social issues, which is to raise lots of money. And it's become a campaign issue to raise money for the 2014 Congress, less about actually trying to get Congress to do anything, because I think that's not quite dead on arrival, but getting there.
Well, let me ask you about that, because we exchanged notes about what people think on these topics beforehand, and I knew you were going to say that you thought that gun control was a good money-raising issue for the president. Mr. Krauthammer last night, when I was watching at home, said he thought it would be a much better fundraising issue for the opponents of gun control.
You trying to start a fight here?
I just thought that I noticed a contradiction here. But on the money side, do you think that Mr. Goldberg is right or wrong when he suggests that this is a net plus for the president to be pushing gun control?
It was reported today that before noon, when the governor of Connecticut signed this very strict gun control law, there were lines around the block at gun stores. People who own guns, care about it, will commit their money on this issue. As we saw, there was a huge increase in the purchase of guns after the president began campaigning on behalf of gun control. So I think the enthusiasm, the attachment to this issue, the intensity is infinitely higher on the gun rights side. And I think it would easily translate, if it were a contest of who can raise the most money over this, the Democrats, the gun controllers, would lose big time.
You know, universal background checks, which is the last man standing here, that's really all that's left that has a possibility of passing Congress, has overwhelming support. And yet, it seems like it's losing steam. And there's only one reason for that, because the people who are opposed to it are more intense.
Go ahead.
There's a larger issue here, which I think you're overlooking.
No doubt.
I just had to get that out. I mean, Obama runs in 08 as the man who's going to change our politics. You know, he is not only going to implement new ideas or policy, he's going to change the way Washington works. And the essence of the corruption he was attacking was the money. So, number one, in 08, he's the first who refuses public financing for his campaign. He raises $1 billion. And now what he's doing, he's campaigning. Look where he is, in the third month of a second term. If there's ever a time in the 8 years when you would relax on the money and try to govern, it would be at this point. What he has done, completely in contradiction to what he promised as a candidate in 08, he's institutionalized the permanent campaign. He's out there raising money at the beginning of a second term when he ought to be here working on the budget, on sequester, and all these other issues. But now he is the essence of exactly the system that he denounced and he promised he would messianically redeem.
He set the bar so low for himself. In the State of the Union address, he said, all we want is a vote. He didn't even say we have to pass this legislation. And now it looks like the vast majority of what he wanted to vote on, he won't even get that.
All he wants now is the money.
You don't really mean that.
What he's getting, he's lost on gun control.
You don't think he's going to get even the background
checks? Get anything of it. You think it's going to make a difference? Not going to make any difference.
Background checks will make a difference, more than an assault weapons ban.
Well, it certainly is enough to claim he got something done.
As you said, it's the last item standing. It's the smallest item standing. It's the only one he'll possibly get. And knowing all that, he's out there now exploring it as an issue. He's not going to get the solution he wanted. So he'll make an issue, and that's the way he operates. He does it on immigration. He does it on a lot of stuff. If you can't win on a solution or get your way, you turn it into cash. He's excellent at turning stuff into cash.
It only takes being wrong once. And I don't want to be the Secretary of Defense who was wrong once. So we will continue to take these threats seriously.
Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel demonstrating just how focused he is on the threats coming from North Korea. But apparently, Charles, at least the signs are that the North Koreans are ignoring their Chinese sponsors so far in this crisis.
And China has never shown that it's prepared to value anything above maintaining the existence of the client regime it has in Korea, because it does not want, the one thing it will not accept is a united Korea run by the South, which in fact could possibly be nuclear. And thus it tolerates, it supports, it subsidizes this insane regime has and will continue to. But I don't quite agree that everyone knows, including Pyongyang, how we would respond. It's not at all clear that we would respond to say, look, 2 years ago, they attacked an island in South Korea. They all of a sudden opened up with artillery. They killed civilians on the island, and there was almost no response, which actually hurt the government in the South because there was no
But they
response.
have a new president who supposedly is more conservative.
I understand, says. But she herself is untested. She's a new president, the daughter of a previous one with no real experience. So I'm not sure anybody knows. It could be that we would have a very limited response. There's not going to be a nuclear attack because it doesn't have a way to make a small weapon that could be delivered on a missile. But if there's a conventional attack, it could be that we will not respond at all, or there'll be simply a response that will be proportional, which means it'll be useless.
This has been a Sunfish production.